What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode of Making a Zombie Game, we're going to be continuing with our health mechanics. We're going to be making a death screen, we're going to be making health packs, and as a little fun added bonus feature, we're going to be making the player Ragdoll when he dies. We're going to do the same with the zombie, but not quite yet. So I just want to say thank you for everyone for the really nice comments which you left in the last video. It means a lot to me. I just want to say shout out to Destination Unknown. I'm going to leave his comment up here on the screen because he noticed a bug in the health system when the zombie attacks and takes away health from the player. There's a bit of an issue with the ranging, so we're just going to go through that and make sure that it's sorted. And I'm going to hide my Ubisoft. So we're going to do the bug fixes first. Let me just grab my notes here. From your content folder, go into AI, then go into your zombie character. So this is where all of the tasks are. So this is where we keep all of the logic which is referenced by our behavior trees. So we're going to add in a bit of code in between the delay and the set player health on the event graph. So just break this node here and then do B and then left mouse button to make a branch. That's a bit of a shortcut. And then hook that up from the completed into the input node on the branch, and then hook up the true into the cert player health. Because we're going to make a conditional here. We're going to check the range from the zombie to the player, and then based on that, he can take away health. So drag off from the cast to third person character, and what the cast does is it allows us to access variables inside of the player character, and because we're referencing the player character, not the controller, we can access all information about where the player is, all of the variables pertaining to him. So drag off of this and do get distance 2. So this is going to get the distance to our character from another actor. Now we're going to be using this slightly differently of how you'd normally use it. We're just going to be looking at the other actor's distance. So just hold down on control on your mouse while hovering over the target. And you can see that little grab icon appears here, so just pick up that and place that into the other actor. Now from the distance to target, we're just going to drag off here and type in self. So this is going to get a reference back to our target player. Right, next we want to do less than or equal to. So less than or equal to. Here we go. And then type in the range which you want to use. In my case, it's 150. You may have seen this number being used in other places. But the 150 is the range from the player to the zombie, and this is just in units. And if you want, you can straighten these two nodes just by selecting both of them and pressing Q. It's going to straighten them up, look a lot nicer. Drag the branch and the set player health just a bit further out, and then hook up the condition exit to the branch node. There we go. And that should be it for our fix. So thank you to Destination Unknown for suggesting that. Let's just see that happening now. So he takes his health as normal, but if he does the attack and we move away from the 150 range, he's not going to take that health. So just adds a bit more realism to it. Wonderful. And I'll just give you a bit of an example of what it looked like before. So if I just drag the delay straight into the set player health, you'll see that if he attacks us and then we run away, he's going to take health, and it doesn't look very good, so just make sure they got that done. Okay, so now let's make a new widget, and this is going to be for our death screen. So wherever you want to save your widgets, make it there. I'm going to make mine in the blueprints folder of the third person BP. Make a new user interface and widget blueprint. And I'm going to call this WBP, standing for Widget Blueprint, and then Death Screen. Open that up, and save it. Okay, so from here just drag out to your native size resolution of your monitor. So this is going to give us a good canvas to work with. Now from here just drag out and make a border. Or if you have your own transparent image of blood splats or whatever, you can, instead of using a border, use an image. So you can drag in a transparent PNG. In this one, I'm just going to use a red overlay. So just go onto anchors and go onto this one in the bottom right. So this is going to do the whole screen. It's going to, instead of giving us sizes, it's going to give us offsets, and we can zero those. So we've got no offset from any of the corners, so it covers the entire screen. Set your content padding to 0, we don't need that. And now give it a tint. For this one, I'm going to give it a red tint to signify like sort of blood, dead, you know. And then I'm going to set the transparency to about 0.5, and I'm going to darken the red a bit. There we go. Now from here, I'm also going to add some text, so just drag in some text. And it's automatically going to become a child of the border. So set the horizontal justification and the vertical justification to center. So this is going to center your text. And then from here, just type in "you died" or something. Wonderful. And I'm just going to change the font of that. You don't have to, but I am just going to make it a bit larger. I'm going to make this about 40. And I'm going to set this to bold italic. There we go. You died. Okay, so now that we've done this, you can tweak this to however you like it. I think I'm going to leave it on that. Exit out of that and just make sure that everything's saved. Why not? Okay, so now we're going to go into our third-person character, and this is where we're going to start making functions. So functions are little bits of code which we can repeat instead of having to copy things over and over again. So go down here to functions and then do enter death state. Right, enter death state. That sounds like the name of a heavy metal album or something. From this node here, you just want to drag off here and then do cast to third person character. Can't see that. To third person character. And then get the player character. And the reason why we're doing this is that we need his health. So get character. I cannot type. Get player character. There we go. So, sorry, no, what am I doing? That's for later. So, drag off of here and then do create widget. There we go. And then set the owning player as get player controller. Okay. And then from the return value, just drag off here and then do add to viewport. And then disable the input. And the reason why I'm not setting the input mode rather than disabling, the reason why I'm disabling input rather than changing the player mode, is because I want to add a respawn button in later. And of course, hook this one up to the player controller. And we're going to make a variable on here to use for later. We won't be using it now, but we'll be using it later. So, and then we're going to name this one is dead. Okay. And then hook that up to the end of that one, and then check that. So, okay, so we're going to make another function here. Oh yeah, it's just going to complain about not having a widget. So just on the class, go to death screen. That's going to get rid of errors. Games work better when we don't have errors. And under disable input, just type in here self. Going to reference to self. There we go. We're going to make one more function, and that's going to be enter ragdoll state. Enter ragdoll state. Ooh. There we go. So this is a lot easier than using a death animation because it makes more unpredictable death animations, really. Well, it's not more of an animation, but when you have a ragdoll, it just looks a lot more realistic. Well, better. So from this pin, what we want to do is just simulate physics. And the target is going to be our mesh, and then we can just check this simulate boolean. Now, the reason why we're simulating physics is we are essentially imitating what we do here on the blueprint, on the physics asset. So if we go into our third person folder, into your character models folder, Doctor 1, and you should see that you have a physics asset. Now, you get a physics asset whenever you import a skeleton. And if you don't have one, just right click on here, right click on your mesh, and then do create physics asset. There we go. I'm not going to make one because I've already got one, but if you don't, it's super simple to make one. So open up your physics asset folder, file, and then you've got these capsules here, so if you need to change the size of them, just change them. I'm going to experiment with 10, see if that works. In fact, no, actually, let's leave it on 20. Yeah. Okay, so if I were to simulate this, we get an idea of what he looks like, and we're going to fine-tune this later. Obviously, when he collapses in on himself, it looks a bit weird, but we'll get that sorted out later. So just stop simulating that, and then we'll leave that for the time being. So let's get this hooked up to just the key binding, just to make sure that it works. So go back onto your event graph, and then do any button here. So let's do the E key. Go up to keyboard events. In fact, let's just do B, it's nearer. And then drag off from the functions list on enter ragdoll state, and then just hook that up there. So if I were to press B, okay, right, well that's weird. That doesn't look quite right, does it? Okay, bear with me, I'll just find out what the problem is. Okay, so there's one thing that I forgot to do, and that's to set the character's mesh collision. So by default, the mesh doesn't actually have any collision, it just uses the character mesh. And when we go into a ragdoll state, when we simulate the physics, it just doesn't exist. So go into your third-person character, go into mesh, go down to the collision presets, and from the collision preset, change from character mesh to ragdoll. Now let's try this again. So go to event graph, make sure that's all the same, yep. So when I press B, he ragdolls. And obviously we can still move around. Okay, so get rid of this one, we don't need that. Okay, so from end to death state, just drag off of is dead. In fact, you can just drag the function from here, enter ragdoll state, there we go. And then that should be fine. So if we take all of our health away. Oh. Okay, we are not dying. Let me see here. Oh yeah, because I haven't told it to yet. Okay. So, next we are going to modify the blueprints of our level. So, go into open level blueprint, and this is what's going to decide when the player dies. So, open up an event tick. So what event tick does is it uses the GPU to determine the time, and the time is usually determined 60 ticks per second, and that's usually the game's FPS or the refresh rate of your monitor. So from event tick, just drag off here and then do cast to third person character. Okay, cool, and then you know the usual shtick, it is to get player character. Right. I don't know how many times we're going to be doing this, but it's going to be a lot. So, drag off of third-person character, and then open up a branch. There we go. So, from here, just as third-person character, you want to get the health. And if the health is equal to 0, equal to float, and then just hook that up into your branch. And if that is true, we want to do something once. So, do once. Okay. And what we're going to be doing from here is just calling that function we just made to enter the dead state. So drag off of as third person character and do enter dead state. Enter death state. Then hook that up to the completed. Okay. So what we're doing here is we're just casting to our character, we are getting the health, and if the health is equal to 0, then he's going to do this thing once, and then he's going to enter the death state. And the reason why we've got to do this once is because if we didn't, he'd be trying to enter this death state 60 times per second because of the event tick. Right, and we can neaten this up a bit, make it look a bit nicer. Just drag some reroute nodes. You can make reroute nodes just by double tapping on a node's line, like so, or you can type it in, so reroute node. Alright, we won't be needing that one, we won't be needing that. Let's just hook those up. There we go, compile that. So now when we are to die, there we go, he dies. And we can't move. Okay, so there's one more thing we need to do for our player. So we need to make it so that the zombie doesn't keep attacking. So as you can see, when we die, he keeps on attacking. So in order to fix that, go into your enter death state, drag off of here, and then do unregister from source. Unregister from perception source, sorry. And then it's automatically going to find our AI perception source. Just compile that, save that. Now when we are to die, he's just going to ignore us now. Perfect. So this space here in particular is going to be particularly interesting. We can add some functions to make him sort of play a different animation where he starts scavenging the body. I think I'll leave that for the time being, but I'll definitely show you how that's done later on. But we are done with the third-person character. We're also done with the third-person map. Okay, cool. So now we're going to make a health kit. So go into wherever you want to put your blueprints for this one. I'm just going to make a new folder called blueprints. And I'm going to make a new actor. So this actor is going to be our health kit. So just go onto the content browser and right click and do blueprint class and then make a new actor. So an actor is something that we can place into a scene or a level and make it do things. So I'm going to call this one health pack. There we go. And we only need one of these. We don't need to bother about making parents and child blueprint classes for the time being. So open this one up. Now we've got our self and our default scene root. From the default scene root, just make a new component and make this a static mesh. So if you have a mesh for a health kit, which you'd like to use, you can use that here. For me, I'm just going to use a default 1 meter cube, well 1m cube. There we go. And I'm going to scale this down a bit. So I'm going to set it to 0.5. And I'm going to set this one to 0.6. And this one to 0.25. Just make a little health pack looking square. Now I'm going to make a green material just to add on to it. So go into your content browser, go to material, name this one whatever you want. I'm going to just call this health pack underscore mat. There we go. And then from the base color, you want to drag in a constant 3 vector. Sorry, it's not called a vector. Oh yes, yes it is. So just drag a constant 3 vector, drag that into your base color, and give this a green sort of tint. There we go. We can make mine a bit darker than that. How's that look? Apply that. It'll take a bit of time. Materials usually do take a lot longer than compiling blueprints. And then just find the material you made. So I'm going to type in health pack underscore mat, and that looks good. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, so next on your default scene root, from here just add in box collision. And then from this one, I'm going to make it 128 by 128 by 128. So these are the box accents on this shape. So 128. So that is our collision. So when the player overlaps this, it's going to do something. Compile that and save that. Okay, so inside of the event graph for your health pack, go up here to your hierarchy and then select the box, and this is your box collision. On the details panel, go all the way down to the bottom and look for on component begin overlap. Okay, so this is going to make a new function. Just drag that up to the top. From here, cast your third person character. There we go. And then get the player character. Right. Let's neaten this up a bit. There we go. So open a branch from here. And what we're going to do is just get the player health. And we're going to check if it's not equal to 1. So the not equal to is done with an exclamation point and an equals symbol. And it's going to give you a not equal float. There we go. So from here, we're just going to type in 1, which signifies maximum health bar value, and then drag that up to our branch. So if it is true, we want to set the player health. So drag off from here again and do set player health. Hook that up to the true, and then do destroy actor. And then on here, just do self. Get a reference to self, there we go. So what this is doing is that it's going to look at the player health, and if the player health is not equal to 1, it is going to set the it's going to set the health to 1. You just want to make sure that it set the variable as 1. So it's going to check if the health is not 1, and if it's not 1, it's going to do nothing. But if it is 1, it's going to do nothing, and if it isn't 1, it's going to add all of that health, and it's going to get rid of this health pack. So let's drag this into our scene. So let's put it over here. Let's add one over here as well. Okay, and begin play. And then if I were to walk over it with a full health bar, it's going to do nothing. But if I were to get attacked by him and then walk over this one, it's going to top up my health, and it's going to get rid of that one. So it's going to effectively use it up. Okay, so if I walk over this one, it's going to get rid of it. And that about does it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. In this video we got the health packs done, we got the death screen done, we did a few bug fixes. So, if you did enjoy, a like would be greatly appreciated, and remember to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future uploads. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.